Good morning and welcome back to Tabletop Tuesday here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're actually going to cross over a little bit with Otherworlds Wednesday and take a look at the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen Deluxe Edition. Now, this is going to be a little bit of an unboxing, but I also kind of wanted to, give my thoughts because this is a little bit of a unique product. Now, first off, Dungeons and Dragons. It's a big name. It absolutely owns the name recognition, as it were, in the role-playing game space. And to be honest with you, it's not my kind of game. I'm normally not a person interested in a lot of fantasy games. There's a little bit of change there, I admit that. But I didn't grow up with it. In 8th grade, I was invited over to a friend's house one time. We made a character, and I never got invited back to play a game. So there was that. Didn't have a group in high school. Didn't have the ongoing group, for the last 20 years. But doesn't mean I haven't found it interesting. It doesn't mean I haven't at least followed. I have played a decent amount of 3rd edition and even a decent amount of 4th edition. But I've only played a couple of times for 5th edition. And so when the Dragonlance campaign book for 5th edition was announced, it was like, oh, okay, cool. They're bringing back that section of the Dungeons and Dragons lore. But I wasn't really, that interested. Until I went into the game store a couple of weeks ago. Now, if you've followed any of my other videos, I have a tendency to look for games on clearance or budget games. Not necessarily that they're bad, but the game store wants to get rid of it, and I don't mind getting a deal. And that's what happened here. Normally, this is going to retail for about $140 to $150, and I got it for about $50 brand new, which you're going to see because this is literally a fresh unboxing. And it did some things that I actually found kind of interesting. Not that I wanted to pay $150 for, but they were kind of too good to pass up for $50. Now, before we get into it, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, whether it's role-playing or miniatures, board games, what have you. And I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. In addition, down below, I am going to have links to our social media, Facebook, Twitter, and also for DriveThruRPG, where it is an affiliate link. It does give a little bit of a kickback to the channel, but if you're interested in those kinds of products, it'll help out the channel a little bit at no cost to you. So, with that said, let me quit rambling and let's take a look at this. Now, what I thought was interesting about this, so first off, my camera is completely zoomed out. Okay, there's my hand. It's an average sized hand, I think. But this box is absolutely massive because while the campaigns are normally just a book, this is actually a combination of things in literally a massive box. So, real quick, here on the back, first off, you do get the campaign book. You do get, it says Deluxe Edition components, meaning the book with an exclusive foil cover, the Warriors of Krynn, which the reflection of the lights. This is actually a board game. That's why I'm releasing the video today. And a Dungeon Master screen that is exclusive to this box set. So, this thing is, like I said, it is absolutely massive. And what I thought was interesting, and we're going to go ahead and start opening it. What I thought was most interesting about this is that they decided to integrate a board game with it. Now, Dragonlance, what little I know of it, centers around a war with dragonkind amongst the other races. And so how do you represent that? A role-playing game, especially nowadays, is basically about individuals. It's about you and your fellow players, taking on the role of heroes in the world. And so how do you represent, legions of, warriors on both sides, whether it's dragons or humans? How do you represent that? So what they've done is they've also added the Warriors of Krynn board game. Now, I'm a sucker for when a company does something a little unique, a little bit different, in your hook, as opposed to just giving you mechanics that, work. They're trying to integrate things, whether it's, whoops, a little bit of an interruption, but doing something a little bit unique. I mean, typically with your role-playing game, you're going to sit around and you're going to tell your story and have your adventure. Whereas with your board game, you're going to move your pieces and, play out a scenario that, is contained within the board game. And I really think, honestly, I have not seen it before where somebody has taken a board game and a role-playing game and put them together. So that's kind of cool. Now, with this, so first off, it says it's designed by Rob Davio, who is responsible for the, I believe, Pandemic and a lot of the legacy games. So that's actually kind of awesome. The book, or the box, I should say, is nice. It's not super gloss, but it's not super matte either. Now, this is... Alright, so the cardboard is a little thin. But we have, plenty of tokens that obviously I don't know exactly what they do. Printed very, very clear. Nice art, like this rising city down here. As I'm now accidentally punching out items. And then have the flying citadel on the other side. All right, different areas for the game board. I have watched a few things on this. Basically, you do have customizable boards so that you can set up for the different scenarios. Actually, I guess I should show the other side. Looks like these are probably going to give you different bonuses to your attributes based on what the tile is. Obviously based on the different Dungeons and Dragons stats, wisdom, charisma, strength, intelligence, etc. Even more. Overall, the art is good. I do wish the cardboard was just a little bit thicker. It's not bad, but it's very, very thin. So just do keep that in mind. Now, in this case, I did purchase the Deluxe Edition that has the board game and the campaign book. But you can't actually purchase them individually. You can buy the board game by itself. You can buy the role-playing book by itself. So if you just want one or the other, you can do that. All right. Okay, so this is nice. These are actually, it says down here, use these dividers to sort your cards in the storage tray. That's two good things. Number one, giving you dividers. Even if it's just simple cardboard, that's fine. But they give you dividers, and they're already giving you storage in the box. That's awesome. All right. These look like different characters. They can go from recruit to veteran to legendary. And we've also got generic ones. So these generic ones, I'm going to guess, are probably to take your Dragonlance character into the board game, as opposed to just using one of the generic heroes. But obviously, if you're not doing that, you can just use the generic heroes. So that's fine too. Tissue paper. More tissue paper. Alright, so here's the scenario book It is stitched, so it's not glued. Campaign Chronicle. This is cool. So it looks like there's 12 different scenarios. I do hope that they have a printable version of this so that you don't necessarily have to write onto this. Obviously would make it a little bit easier to replay it as well. We've got a scenario 0 that's not marked on there, so that actually gives us 13. So this is, there we go. So this is what I was talking about with the modular setup. These are those little trapezoid tokens that we were looking at earlier. So then we've got some larger play boards. Different way to set it up. Even more, even larger. So this is cool. So it expands out, does different things. Very, very interesting looking game as well. Yes, I realize it's supposed to represent the War of the Dragon, but typically with a board game, you're going to have a very standardized setup. You know, it's going to be square or rectangle or whatever. And the fact that they're doing different shapes is kind of cool. All right, here is the rulebook. All right, so already lots of big diagrams, easy to read text. The text isn't too small, it's not too large. Description of all of the items, key terms. All right, so there is a lot of text. There's not a lot of diagrams. Or is this sort of a... Oh, these are scenario entries, so different story bits? Interesting. So, and then also right here, rules on how to include the scenarios in the adventure. We'll flip through the book here in just a moment. That was one thing that I did see. I did look at it. I don't normally look at other content creators' videos about the game that I'm going to be looking at on my channel, just because I don't want to cloud my opinion. But I did watch one, and it is actually kind of interesting how the scenarios are actually integrated into the role-playing game, so that as you go along, it says, okay, go to the board game and play scenario 2. And then come back, and that'll affect how the story goes. So things like that. All right, so we've got the map boards. So they are double-sided. Prairie, abandoned fields, scrublands, fields, crossroads, crags, foothills, canyon, mountains, forest road. Okay, so and you get 10 of them, so that's good. Just some storage cardboard. More. Okay, oh no, you get 9 of them, not 10, sorry. River crossing, city wall, farmstead, steps, stunted forest, barrows, broken lands, city gate. Alright. Got markers of all sorts of different shapes. I think these are supposed to represent the army. I'm not going to pop these open just yet. Basically a bunch of plastic tokens. Then we've got a bunch of purple tokens. Actually, let's open these a little bit. Take a look at a few of these. Alright, so they are double-sided. Different marks. Obviously, I'm going to have to read through the instructions to see exactly what they mean. But they are also in different shapes. So like this one has 2 points. This one has 2 indentations. So I'm going to guess that you need to link them up like that at some point. You have one with one of each. So again, this is just first impressions, me getting an idea of how this is going to work without reading the rules. I'm a very, very visual evaluator, I'll say. A lot of times it's going to determine if I'm interested, if it looks good. So, all right, the dice, very, very clean. There's 3 single swords, a double sword, a blank, and a dragon. All right, this has the same shapes that are on those little plastic tokens. So I have no idea how that works. All right, we will save the miniatures for last. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave this closed specifically because of what it says here. So start here. Open these cards when you're ready to play the first game. So clearly there's adventure stuff. I don't want to spoil it. Legendary. Don't open these cards unless you're about to begin a legendary tier scenario. Veteran. Do not open these unless you're about to begin a veteran tier scenario. Answers that. Okay, so yeah, I'm leaving a lot of this because I'll be honest, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. I don't want to spoil it for me. So again, veteran and legendary. Okay. So it does come with 6 miniatures. It is soft PVC plastic, as you can see, but this is fantastic. Companies don't normally do this, but it's kind of a marble or gray plastic, and they just hit it with a black wash. It's not great. It could be better. I'd actually like to get these like a decent paint job, but regardless, they put something on there and you can actually see some of the detail on the model. Not all of it. It ain't perfect, but that's fine. For an average player, they're not going to paint. So to give them a little bit of something, this looks like a halfling or possibly a kender would be my guess. Human rogue type character. But yeah, they washed out a little, or the face isn't very detailed, but again, they put something on there so you can see the detail instead of just the raw plastic. This looks like a dwarf. A wizard. And a ranger. At least that's my guess. But yeah, the models aren't perfect. The wash is a little dirty, especially down here around the base, but again, I don't care. They put something on it. I'll still go over and I'll paint it. Priming it, painting over it is not going to be a problem. So definitely don't worry about that. And just to check, nope. There's nothing underneath the plastic insert, but they give you the plastic insert. That's great. I was wondering where the card dividers were going to go, and it's like, oh wait, they're just going to go right here. So yeah, I mean, from my first impressions, this is going to be interesting. Whether we play just the board game, or if we play the role-playing game as well, they're giving you a lot to work with. So for everything that Wizards of the Coast has been doing lately, I'm actually kind of interested. I still think they have problems as a company, but here we are. All right, let's get the board game out of the way, and let's take a look at the last couple of things that we've got. All right, so because it's going to be the fastest, the DM screen. Basically, it's the GM's, the Dungeon Master's cheat sheet or cheat screen. Don't fudge your dice rolls. Make them die if they have to. Anyways, but the art. So, first off, I'm going to say the art looks really good. It's a dragon attacking a village. Can't really go wrong with that. More dragons attacking the village. It's a dragon war. What do you expect? The only thing I don't like about it is it's basically red, orange, and black are the only colors on here. So it kind of washes out some of the detail. Maybe it's supposed to represent them attacking and everything being on fire. I don't know. But I don't know. I'd like a little more color personally. There's the left side and the right side. But that detail of these dragons is fantastic. You know, when you got Hasbro money behind you, you know, you really, you know, if you're skimping on your art, that's a problem. So, but then the different Draconians down here, so you can tell them, you know, as a dungeon master, you could give a description to them, so that's good. All right, cheats for the dragon army. So this is actually kind of cool. They've actually taken the GM screen, and instead of just general tables, it's all tables that are going to be related to the Dragon War. All right, your conditions, what they mean. Actually, that's actually really useful reference. If you're unconscious, petrified, grappled, great. And then last few things: concentration, suffocating, travel pace, encountered. Dude, this is a nice little D&D or Dungeon Master reference. Can't argue with that. All right, and finally, the book. All right, so as you can see, there is a bit of reflection, so it's giving it it's that foil cover that they talked about, and it's gorgeous. Honestly, I really like the look of it. It's a very subtle foil, so it's not super reflective. But it's kind of that reflection with the paint over it, so it makes the inks look reflective as well, even when they aren't. Overall, fantastic. It does come back to the back, even to the text over here, so that's great. And then also on the spine. Oh, gotta love that new book crinkle. All right. Oh, there's a... that's annoying. Some piece of glue here. Anyways, but we've got a map that can be pulled out. Oh. You can unfold the map without removing it from the book. That's awesome. Hey, guess what? It's 4 o'clock. These videos are nothing if not professional, folks. Let me see one thing. Thought I had seen something about... Okay, this is one thing that I do want to point out that I think is hilarious, and they've been doing it since the very beginning of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Disclaimer: the Dragon armies cannot ensure that the owners of this book will not have their lives repurposed in the service of the Dragon Queen's glorious will. Promises to the contrary should be considered best-case scenarios, not statements of certainty. Thank you for supporting the Dragon armies and cataclysmically bright future for all of Krynn. All of the D&D 5th edition books have a disclaimer, and it's hilarious. All right. So obviously we've got background, very general D&D 5th edition art. Background on the scenario or on the system gives you about 20 pages. Then a chapter on character creation. Race options. Feats, classes, backgrounds. Alright, and then the actual adventure. So, overall, so I'm not going to go through all of it. Basically, chapters 2 through 7 are the adventures, taking you from 1st to 10th level, or higher. So if you are new to Dungeons and Dragons, here's a story for you to play through. I keep talking about it. Maybe I'll get my son to run the family through this. I don't know. This is a fantastic piece of art. Cataclysmic flames reveal glimpses of Lord Soth's memories. So, I mean, honestly, I don't see anything here that I wasn't expecting to see. It's, you know, it's a presentation of a classic Dungeons and Dragons setting, brought forward to 5th edition, and they've put all the shiny bells and whistles on it. So, you know, honestly, this is going to be one of those purchases that, do I recommend it? Not necessarily. If you are a player of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, unless you're the Dungeon Master, you're not going to have a whole lot of use for this. If you just want the board game, you can buy it separately. But do you need the Deluxe Edition? Probably not. I don't know. I like it. It's pretty. It might have just been one of those vanity purchases for me. I'll admit it. But if we play through it, I will absolutely come back and review it. But even with all of that said, I do want to see companies take some more chances with this. Are there ways to mix existing board games into your role-playing games? Maybe it's not Dragonlance. Maybe it's something like Firelock Games is putting out World War II Stories, which is a World War II role-playing game, and maybe use something like Memoir 44 or something else to actually, you know, play out a larger battle, you know, beyond your heroes. I don't know. But I do think there are a lot of potential if game manufacturers actually make ways to kind of do some more crossovers. I think there is a lot of potential and it could be a lot of fun. So with that said, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and let me know down in the comments. Have you played through the scenario? Should I be, you know, trying to hijack my 17-year-old into running it for us? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But with that out of the way, thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk to you next time.